With Steven Adams an unrestricted free agent, it remains uncertain what GM Rafael Stone is going to do in order to fill that backup big position. However, the Houston Rockets currently have a hidden gem in their G League affiliate that could be exactly what Stone is looking for. Hello everybody, welcome to Rockets Digest. I am your host Donovan Ricondo, and we are going to talk about big men today. Hooray! As many of you know, Steven Adams is currently an unrestricted free agent. And I want to say this first, just so we are on the same page and that I'm perfectly clear about this. If there is a chance and if there's a mutual connection, both sides want to re-sign, absolutely re-sign Steven Adams. If we can do that, the value that he brings to this team, the reason why I think that series even went to 7 games in the first place against the Golden State Warriors was because of Steven Adams. His rebounding, his defensive stops, everything that he was able to bring to this team in that playoff series and throughout the entire regular season with the double big lineup, all that, absolutely fantastic if you can re-sign this man. But now, I want to be honest, right? We have to be honest with what our options are. A lot of teams are probably going to be after a guy like Steven Adams, looking for a valuable NBA vet who can bring the value that he did to us last season. And get him for, not too expensive, probably a $10 to $12 million contract that he is probably going to receive. So there is that. If you can re-sign him, do so immediately. But the chances of him being on this team next year are not exactly, I wouldn't take those odds. So we're going to have to deal with the fact of filling that backup big role. Who can we put in that place? Now, I'm not saying this guy is going to be our next Steven Adams. I'm not saying he's as good as Steven Adams, but we need someone to fill that role. When Şengün is on the bench, who can step in and provide those valuable minutes? Now, the answer may surprise a lot of you. For those of you that don't know, this is N'Faly Dante. He is currently with our G League affiliate, and he is someone that is, quite frankly, in my opinion, a hidden gem on this roster, or not on this roster, but in this organization. If you think he's a little bit familiar, he did show up in 4 games for the Rockets last season when some players needed rest. In his first game, he was able to compile 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 19 minutes, which is not bad for his first NBA game. Those 4 games, he averaged 6 points, 5.3 total rebounds, 0.5 assists on 76, pretty much 77% field goal percentage. Now, I'm not saying those are crazy. I mean, they're not. I'm not going to. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 0.5 assists. That's nothing to be, oh my God, throw a parade for this guy. But I want to point out the potential of him as a player because he's currently in the G League. How is he doing in the G League? Well, he is playing very, very well. 16.5 points, 10.6 rebounds, 1.2 assists, averaging a steal and 2 blocks per game. And I know what you're thinking. The G League is nowhere near the NBA, and you're completely right. The G League and NBA are 2 totally different places to play basketball. However, it is, in my opinion, a very good training ground for those development players. A lot of players that you see in the NBA today are players that spent time in the G League. They have developed as players to fulfill the roles that they are looking for. Alex Caruso I don't know if you saw this quote, but he said this very, very recently. He's like, a lot of guys for the G League, you're not auditioning to be the CEO of that company, right? You're trying to be the guy that's going to clean the bathrooms, do and fulfill the role that you know that a team is going to need. And the Rockets currently need a big man. And from what I'm seeing from these numbers, it's pretty solid. It's not terrible. It's actually really, really good. He's averaging a double-double, 75% field goal percentage. A lot of that is around the basket, transition points. He's a 6'11" freak. He's absolutely tall, 7.5 wingspan. And so he is going to be someone that I think this team can rely on. And so we're going to go to what Sports Illustrated said about him heading into the 2024 NBA draft. He was an undrafted free agent. The Houston Rockets decided to pick him up. And this is what Sports Illustrated had to say. Quote, with an incredibly physical build, Dante has the height and strength to dominate the paint on both ends. He's double-double machine who is ready to take the leap to the NBA after 5 college seasons at Oregon. More of a traditional center, he embraces contact and physicality, but is also fluid for his size. Dante is a good athlete and very coordinated for his size and frame. Most of his shots were at the rim, but he did convert on nearly 70% of his attempts from the floor last season. To me, this is fantastic news. When I think of a guy like Steven Adams, I think of how physical they play and their mental and physical toughness. And that's the same vibe I get from N'Faly Dante. I'm not saying they're the same caliber or same level of player, but there is all the same symptoms of a guy you would want to be your backup big. You know, he's a traditional big, very similar to Steven Adams. He's very good around the basket. There are areas of his game that he needs to develop. His post game is solid, but definitely needs more work. Again, next year would be his second year in the league. He's got so much more to improve upon, develop, but all the key pieces are there to have him be the guy that you want him to be. And so with that in mind, it begs the question, right? What is GM Rafael Stone going to do about it? Can you get this guy and bring him to the NBA roster? Currently, he's a restricted free agent. There has not been a move on what we're going to do with him. Restricted free agent means a team could offer him a contract. The Houston Rockets could match that. And so I'm going to make the case, right, that this guy is showing all the signs of having potential and being that guy that you can rely on. Is he going to be that next season? That remains to be a question. I think he can. I think from the minutes that he's played, I know it's only been 4 games, but he was able to show some signs of being a valuable player. And in the G League, averaging a double-double in the G League, I know it's probably not the hardest thing in the world, but to maintain that the entire season and to also lead your team in field goal percentage, blocks, rebounds, I think it goes a long way in showing the type of hustle and mentality that this guy has. He is an older, more mature player. He spent 5 years at Oregon, and I think he uses that in his play. You know, he has suffered some injuries in the past, but from the way he's been playing in the G League, again, a double-double is nothing to mess around with. But now, GM Rafael Stone's got to make a decision, right? There's a lot of talk on drafting a big on draft day. And there's also been a lot of talk of acquiring a big in free agency. And so there is a lot to be said in terms of that aspect. But in my opinion, when you have a guy who's, 6'11", kind of the exact formula that you want in a big, he is that already. Not already, but he has this potential to be that. And so giving him those more minutes in the NBA next season, slowly integrating him into that contract. Because he's currently on a 2-way contract. But if he can manage to become that big, that backup center that can, sustain ourselves for the time that a guy like Alperen Şengün is on the bench, I think that can work wonders for this team. I think he can fulfill that role definitely. And Coach Ime Udoka, I think, could also run that double big lineup with him as well, standing 6'11". Now, he's got to be a little bit more quicker on his feet. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he is very good at guarding the pick and roll. And so, considering all those things, this is a guy GM Rafael Stone could look at, and at the very, very least, maybe he's not on the NBA roster next season immediately, but at the very, very least, I am a firm believer of re-sign this guy and see what he can become, because he's showing every sign of being a great role player in the NBA. And so with that, I want to reach it out to you. What do you think about N'Faly Dante? Have you seen a lot of his game? Have you been watching the G League? I think he can be someone that we can rely on in the future. Let me know in the comments. Do you think we should draft a big? Let me know. And for those of you that are not subscribed, there's 87% of you who are watching these videos that are not subscribed. What are you waiting for? If you want to stay up to date on Rockets content, hit that button below. If you made it to the end of the video, that tells me you like this content. So hit that button below. Happy Memorial Day. Salute to our veterans. We'll see you next time on Rockets Digest.